dwelling in the darkest depths of the mind. It's time for Mark D. Valenti and Brain Burrow.
Hello, everyone. This is Mark D. Valenti, and this is Brain Burrow. This is a Digging Deep session where we have an opportunity to talk with our guest and hear their perspective on their own life, their values, their motivations, their fears, their barriers. Then you as a listener and viewer have a chance to assess it and figure out, how does this apply to me? So I'm very pleased to have on the show tonight Mr. John Rain, and I'm going to hand it over to him by asking him the big open-ended question: who exactly is John Rain?
Oh, wow. I don't ever think I've really had to sit back and think about that question. So I guess off the cuff, I'm a free spirit that kind of walks into life situations. I can't ever remember a time where I've actually, even from a young kid, had planned anything out. It's always something happened or occurred that led to something else that got me involved in something. And that's been kind of a pattern with my life. I think that's who I am.
Interesting. So, I mean, it sounds like your free spirit type of descriptor is a bit chaotic. Some people may look at that and say, wow, John, how have you been able to live your life like that? It's almost chaotic, but it doesn't seem chaotic to you. It seems like you've embraced it.
I did. Like I said, from an early age, I had kind of a different lifestyle. I actually ran away from home when I was 15. I hitchhiked all the way from upstate New York around Kroger Lake out to California. I was homeless for about almost 2 years. Slept under a bridge. So, I had some life experiences, that made me think about things at a very early age. So I didn't have that, I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a doctor. I never had that. Never, ever had that. It was always meeting somebody and it's like, hey, you want to be an Elvis impersonator? Okay. And I would go on and do that. Yeah.
Wow. Truly a free spirit. So why California? Why did you go, because you could have gone anywhere. So why there?
I had a half sister and a half brother. They were 22 years older than I was. And I'd never gotten to really know them. So I figured when I ran away from home, I would go out there and try to get to know who they were. I saw my sister and her kids at times when I was younger, but the memories were fleeting, and I never really got to meet my brother, who was an amazing guy. I also had a younger handicapped brother that was Down syndrome that later came back to live with me, and he stayed with me for over 40 years. So that's originally why I went to California. Or I headed that way. It took me a while to get there, doing this thing.
Sure.
And a lot of scary experiences, a lot of cool experiences.
What did you learn about yourself during all of that?
A lot. I learned that I didn't need a lot. What became valuable to me was, if I was going to eat that night, or if I was going to be safe in a place to sleep, who I was going to meet during the day, who I was going to meet going into the evening. Those were the things that became important. I can remember being so hungry one time I ate raw corn out of a cornfield and was so grateful that I came across the cornfield.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, right? It's almost our primal motivations and primal needs that you needed to get, you can't even be thinking about the other things that we all need in society if you're struggling getting food day to day.
Exactly. Now, it wasn't all like that. I mean, there were bitter thoughts in my head of why me, why can't I have this lifestyle that I've seen so many other kids have, that I feel like I was cheated out of. So there was a lot of that. There's, the self-pity thing. And I'd go to bed crying, and then I'd get angry. I'd get up and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be this. I'm going to beat this. That's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
And so there was a smorgasbord of emotions.
I mean, it really seems like there was. And I think being able to talk about it now and recognizing what you went through is a very powerful skill set. So thank you for sharing with. So I mean, you still had to make a choice, right? I'm a big proponent of we all make choices. And what makes sense to us. And you chose to, again, yes, maybe in the evening you were lamenting and saying, why me, right? But you still chose to move forward and keep moving forward. What motivated you to do that?
I guess part of me wanted to show that I was capable, because growing up, I had a stepfather that was very abusive, that was very down on me. And I was determined to say, guess what, and I kind of did that. Not that I didn't do it without help, because I had a lot of help. But even looking back at that, in my head, I was like, well, you know what? I don't care who you are or how you got to where you were. Somebody at some point in time had to help you. So I embraced that. And people were good to me, for the most part, willing to help me as long as I was trying to help myself. And, I just went on from there. And once again, I fumbled into all different kinds of things. And, here I am making movies today.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, calling it out about this stumbling, which we all do. And some people actually don't call it out, so I think it says a lot that you're able to admit that, hey, you weren't perfect. And in fact, you went through a lot. And I do want to talk about sort of the movie part of it and kind of where you are now. But since you talked about the people that have influenced your life, the people that helped you, as you said, as long as you're willing to help yourself, I'm wondering who had the most impact on you? Who was the most influential?
Honestly, it was my handicapped brother. He saw the world differently. He never saw the hate, the pain, the problems that we're facing. He only saw a person coming through the door and wanted to share his coloring book. He was that pure spirit. He was the one that was supposed to be mentally challenged, but I think he was so far above us.
That's a beautiful perspective, actually, John. Very insightful. And at what point did you realize that, I guess, because it sounds like John, like hearing about John Rain, he's this, as you said, free spirit. He's going to go across the country. He's going to do all this. He's going to live under everything you did. It's amazing, actually. But yet it sounds like very close to home, you had to rethink about what you were thinking based on what your brother was experiencing. So how did you get to that point? Because I'm sure it wasn't automatic.
Well, it wasn't a free choice, really. I was kind of up against a rock in a hard place. I was severely beaten. I mean, it was hell. It was really hell. My mother was a sweetheart. She was very naive. She did what she could, but she couldn't stop the insanity. And I knew I had to get out of there. I just had to get out of there. And when I got out and I was on my own, as rough as I had it, I still thought about my mom and I thought about my brother. And I thought, one day I'm going to get them. I'm going to come and get them. And that was, a lot of my goals, to succeed in something, anything. I don't know what, but I do know that I had this vision of being happy with them. I didn't think a lot about my brother when we were together and growing up. It was just a natural thing that he was my brother. I was very, I don't want to say possessive, But I was definitely there for him a lot because he was up against so many odds. He was never supposed to walk. He was never supposed to talk.
Hmm.
And I can remember the doctors, telling my mother, and back at that time, they were called Down syndrome, that it would have been better off to put him in a home. And I was like, are you crazy? How can
Wow.
that be? How can that be better? Put him in a home. So I actually taught him how to walk by tying his feet to my feet. And one day it was like training wheels. He broke off. And he always walked like a penguin, but he walked.
Wow.
And I taught him how to talk by singing. His first song that he actually got the words correct to, because he had a very hard problem with vowels, syllables, pronunciations. But that seemed to mellow a little bit when it was put to music. So it was Sunshine on My Shoulder. And that was the song that stuck with him his whole life. And after that, he would begin talking, instead of pointing. Like, he was understandable. Like he would say, I want ice, but it would be a yes, only yes.
Sure.
That thing. Yeah. So yeah, I was very close to him. And I think when I really realized what Rod had was when he was gone, when he left us. There were so many things that I know we all took for granted with Rod. One of the things that really struck me was I never really paid attention to his drawings because that was his thing. And it was a daily thing, look at my drawings. So it got to be kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, wow, that's really nice, But after he passed, I took out his drawings. And one of the doodles that he did over and over and over again was a circle within a line. And I never paid attention to that. And one page alone had probably 30 or 40 of this on paper. So I decided to look it up, as we can easily do now on Google, if that was any kind of a symbol for anything. And sure enough, it was the symbol for God.
Oh, wow. And how did you feel whenever you made that discovery?
Like I am now.
By the way, thank you for sharing this, because clearly this was a moment that had a huge impact on you.
Yes, it did. I actually did a film called Finding Purpose, The Road to Redemption. And it's loosely based on my brother with a fictionalized story. And my brother was supposed to play that role. I was actually going to put him in that role, and he didn't make it. So I had a business partner, Tom Stoops, and he stepped into that role and did a brilliant job of portraying my brother.
Wow. I mean, that's an incredible story. And the fact that you said he did a brilliant job means that you had a level of satisfaction with the way it all turned out.
Oh, I did. At the end of the movie, in the credits, I put actual pictures of my brother in the credits. And Tom took painstakingly effort to grow the beard like my brother had, to mimic his actions. It was beautiful. It's amazing. I don't know if I made the movie for myself or for the public, but either way, I made it. And people that watch it, it's a tearjerker. But there's a lot of comedy in it too, because my brother was funny.
So you really feel like the movie and your business partner captured the spirit and just the way that he lived.
Yes, I do.
So then, I mean, again, thank you again for sharing this, and again, the program is called Brain Burrow for a reason, because we were kind of like really digging deep and kind of getting people to think about different things that motivate them. And it's up to you to what you choose to share. So I would just want to thank you for talking through this, because it's, again, yeah.
I thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's totally my pleasure. And again, I think, just like with other colleagues of yours who've been on the show, I think everybody takes something different into it and takes something different from themselves, but then people watching and listening take something as well. So everything you've said so far has been extremely interesting and inspirational, because you're talking about, your personal growth through all of this, not only your trip and being homeless, but also with your brother, which again is extremely powerful as well.
Yeah.
So I do want to actually, let's talk about that then. Let's talk about the film part of this. I mean, at what point did you decide that making movies, getting involved with the film industry was something you wanted to do?
Well, I like I said, I stumbled into entertainment way back in the day with becoming an Elvis impersonator, MCA Records. I left them. I went into magic. I went into promoting. It was just one thing after another. I had some really serious tragedy that came on to myself and my family that made me go away for a little while. I just wanted to get away from life as it is. And one of my good friends came to me after I'd been, lying around in the bathroom and not shaving for 2 years, and said, you got to snap out of this. You got to do something. Is there something that you want to do? And out of the blue, I said, I've never made a movie.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said, well, you know what? You want to make a movie? I'll finance your movie. So they did.
Wow.
I made my first film.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Just like, I mean, how long did it take for you to sort of be in the bathroom floor and then get to that point? I mean,
Yeah, well, like I said, you're getting, this paraphrased down quite a bit.
No, I know. Right.
Yeah.
But it's more than just the time that's involved, right? It's more than just getting all the production together. It's you had to have your mindset change. So
Again,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I did. I guess it sparked me to really look at where I was going and everything that I've already been through. I thought, I'm stronger than this, and if somebody's willing to pull me out of that pity pit, then I should be honorable enough to make a good go of it. I did the best I could. Never made a film before. I had no idea what I was doing. I jumped in with, didn't even test the water, just boom, right in there. And the film sucked. It was terrible. It was called Dave Oz. And the story, the cinematography, the sound, the acting, wow. It would have made Ed Wood look like Steven Spielberg. So, but nobody got down on me. They were like, hey man, this is, this is your first attempt. What are you gonna do next? And I'm like, next? You want more? And they're like, yeah, you gotta keep going. So I did. I started doing another film and then another film. And I got into the horror films because they were very easy to distribute. I had a lot that I wanted to do dramatically, but dramas are very hard to sell. You can't really do anything with them unless you're somebody, or you have something where you, I don't know, go down and win some major awards or something, and you go on from there. That didn't happen to me. So I spew out these really low budget horror films, and I was chief cook and bottle washer. And they were bad. I can't say there's any film that I'm really proud of except for Finding Purpose: Road to Redemption. And I was supposed to do another horror film. And now this is moving up now, a good 20 years. And this is when I started Polestar Studios from Rainstorm Productions. And we're supposed to do another horror film. And it was a sequel to a horror film that I already did that somehow got some cult status. It was called Ned, Diary of a Serial Killer, and it was seen by millions of people. Wow. And oh my God, it's horrible. I think I say the F word in that movie more than any other movie in the cinema history. Jeez. And I was supposed to pick up where that character was now older and play the character again. And I didn't want to do it. I was like, I really don't want to do it. I was sweating. I was like, and we had the locations ready to go. We were going to film within the week. And I woke up in the middle of the night with my wife, and I woke her up. She said, what? And I said, I'm not doing it. She says, you're not doing the movie? I said, no, I'm not doing the movie. She goes, but what? You have all these people, the camera guy, the crews, everybody's expecting. I said, I don't care. I'm not doing it. And she says, well, what are you going to do? And I said, a drama. And she said, a drama? And I said, yes, I'm going to do a story and I'm going to include my brother in it. So I called Tom the next day and I said, my ideas, and big long pause over the phone, followed by, are you insane? What happened? And very short conversation. He ended up coming over to my house. I pleaded my case and he was like, look, if this is what you really feel, then let's do it. So then I had to break it to the rest of my crew. And they all looked at me like I had two heads. And we reconstructed the sets. And I took the lead role. And Tom took the role of my brother. And after we shot the very first scene, it was so emotional. Everybody in the crew was breaking down, almost crying. Wow. And I can remember my good friend Schultze, James Schultz, who's like my brother. He came over to me and he goes, damn, dude, this is going to be good. So I knew we did the right thing. And that was the beginning of getting out of horror films and cheapy horror films.
Yeah. I mean, that's another incredible story, right? I mean, and it also, the theme, it sounds like throughout your life have been these people that have supported you almost, they have their own feelings and their own, obviously as human beings, they're going to be like, what are you, insane, and say that stuff. But ultimately they're people that almost unconditionally support you in what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like my crew, I mean, I picked my crew up as I've gone. Some of these guys have been with me 8 years since I moved to Pennsylvania here. Some of them started as a body double that laid on the floor as a dead person for 8 hours. And we became very good friends. So yeah, anything that I do from this point on, even though I'm doing a horror film now, I'm putting more into it than just a slasher film. I don't want to do those anymore. So I started filming what was originally titled as Evergreen is the Blood, a vampire story. I filmed it twice. I wasn't happy with it. I told the producers, I'm not happy with it. It's got to be better than the last film I put out. And it's not. Something's missing. Something's lagging. So we tore it all apart. And we ended up changing the name to Vampire Penance. And we got this really cool story now about the Knights of Templar, the Spear of Destinies involved, which is a very true biblical legend. We have this amazing vampire story where vampires are actually being redeemed and questioning how they became a vampire. So it's really deep. It's really a deep, I guess, horror film with a lot of hidden messages in it that come out.
That sounds pretty freaking cool, John, honestly. I mean, listen, I'm a fan of, slashers and gore and blood and everything else, but there's got to be a fan of other stories that are told and make you start thinking, and just your description of it's intriguing.
Yeah, that's, when I started rethinking the film, I mean, I got some really cool people involved, like Steve Toland from Toland FX. He did Batman Dark Knight Rising, Jack Reacher, and he's coming on to do my film.
Nice.
So I really wanted this big thing where vampires are going to be flying and they're going to be changing and morphing, and we did that in the beginning. And I looked at the cuts and I was like, you know what? What's special about this? There's nothing special about this. I mean, you turn on anything on Netflix and see what I'm doing here. Where's the story? Where's the story that draws you in? Where's the Frankenstein story? Where's the real Bela Lugosi Dracula story? Where's the story? We don't have a story. So we tore it all apart, and now we've got a story that turned into a trilogy.
Wow. I mean, who could have predicted that?
Not me. It was an evolution over a year's time.
Wow. Well, and again, I think there's another story here for you, right? A lot of people go down a pathway. It's actually called the sunk cost fallacy, right? You think, all right, I've already spent this much time. I already have my crew together. We already are on this film. We're already doing this. We've already spent so much. Let's keep going. And a lot of people fall into that. But when I hear you tell the stories of your life, it's, yeah, we've gone this far already, but it doesn't seem right. And I don't, it doesn't matter that we spent this much time, and you're still empathic to the people involved, but you're making a bold decision to say, hey, listen, we've done this a little bit already, but let's have the courage to change our trajectory to make it something that's more in line with your values and where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And, once again, I can't take full credit for any of this. I have a really great team. There's another gentleman that I met that became like my brother, Gino Blair. And he's been co-writing this script with me, bouncing off of my ideas. He's really great at taking a visual concept that I come up with and then adding to it. So no longer is it just John Rain's script. It's a screenplay. It's, this is all these people adding the salt and pepper and the seasonings and the spices to it. So I'm very proud of it. And I'm very proud of the people that are seeing the vision with me.
Yeah. And again, that's another thread of your life. It sounds like that you're allowing people to come into your life, helping you, complimenting you in a way that you were probably unable to do on your own. They were unable to do on your own. You come together to make a really great output. So I think that's another.
Yeah, well, one thing I've learned in film is, and a lot with indie film producers, is the guy that's putting the film together, he likes to take all the credit. And I've seen that over and over again with a lot of indie producers. All right. And I've learned very quickly early on, that's not the case. There is all of these people that are an intricate part of this vision that you're trying to get out there. And the thing about finances is, the more that you have, the better you can make that vision by the better quality of people. Like me pulling Steve Toland in. I would never dreamed I was going to be able to get a guy like that. Or Wolfgang Myers, my cinematographer. Wow. So yeah, I'm excited that I have this caliber of talent coming on board. We actually negotiated with Johnny Depp for this film. And my understanding was Johnny really liked the script. But I'm not going to get into the basics of why it didn't happen, but it was very close to happening. And it was kind of a mutual thing where we thought, let's not do this with this individual right now. Let's get somebody else. And that's what we're doing.
But the fact that he was interested in this and intrigued by it, in the end, like you said, things happen. But I mean, that says a lot right there about the power of the story you're trying to tell.
Yeah, now once again, I never spoke to Johnny directly. This was third party, but I did talk with the management company, that's Shaq Wingham, and I didn't know at the time that we were negotiating that there was some rifts going on with CAA, and Shaq Wingham kind of broke off, took some of their stars with them. So there was, it was like this animosity there. And again, I never dealt with this type of A-list actor, so this was new for me also. And the figures, I'm looking at like 50,000, and now I'm looking at like 7 figures, and I'm like, wow. And I was intimidated. But after going through that process in the last 4 or 5 months of getting these other stars and negotiating with these other stars, I feel like it's old hat already. I feel like, okay, this is just another level to what I've been doing. So I'm actually getting comfortable.
Imagine that. And I think that again speaks to your character as well, right? You're constantly challenging yourself. You're admitting you're having the human experience that this is a new experience. So I'm feeling intimidated, I'm feeling anxious, but you plow through that, you push through it, you learn, and now you're at a point where you're comfortable again. Yeah. So, and again, incredible. We're coming up on 30 minutes. So I want to kind of ask you maybe one more question, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So, again, listening to your story, amazing life that you've lived. And what I like about it is there's ups and downs, just like real life with anybody, but you embrace it. So I'm wondering, John, what's something else that you want to improve about yourself? Because again, you embrace when things don't go well and you work on it. So I'm wondering, is there something else, John, that you want to improve about yourself?
Wow, that's a big one, because I'm always looking to improve something about myself. I have to be one of the most neurotic people you'll ever meet in your life. I overthink a lot. I guess, I don't know, to improve the quality of those that are around me, their lives, by taking the opportunities that we now have, which can catapult them into something that they only dreamed about. So if I can make that happen, I'm going to be very happy.
That's really powerful, and it seems to fit the theme that you have of partnerships with others, of lifting each other up. And it's probably a lot of pressure on yourself as well, to feel responsible almost for getting these people catapulted.
Yeah, it's a hard road to travel when you know that everybody's depending on you. They really do. They depend on me. Like I get phone calls and I'm the guy that has to call and say, you know what, we just spent 3 months and we're not going to get Johnny Depp. And I have to be brutally honest. I have to tell them, but they're like, okay, so who are we getting? That's the team I have. So I love these guys. I love all of them. And I want to thank all of them. If I tried to do it right now, it would take forever. It would go into another 30 minutes. But thank you guys for being who you are.
Thank you for sharing that on here. And my guess is that they know, just from being you and working with you, that you're grateful for them and they're grateful for you.
Very much so.
So, and perhaps then maybe, okay, there's one more final question. Maybe it's just a thought. When people that are watching this right now or listening to it, what do you want them to walk away with, knowing about John Rain? What do you want them to know about you?
That I'm just like them. And no matter what happens to John Rain, no matter if this film goes huge and I make $50 million, I'm still who I am and who I've come to be. And that's who I want to be. I want to be this person that I am right now. I want to be the father of my 2 beautiful daughters. I want to be the husband of my beautiful wife. I wanted to have my friends by my side and come watch movies with me on Saturdays. that's who I want to be.
Thank you. That's a very powerful way to end the show, John. It's really about you keeping the core of who you are, regardless of what's going on. I believe that that's how you've lived your life. So very inspirational. So I want to thank you, sir, for being on the show today. Very interesting conversation. I want to thank you for giving your time to be on here today.
And I want to thank you, Mark. You're one heck of a guy yourself. I've watched your shows. And just your mannerisms and the way you present yourself. You're one cool guy.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. I wasn't expecting that. I really appreciate that. And here you are trying to help lift other people up. And I thank you for that. So with that, I want to thank the listeners and viewers who are out there and who tuned in. And on behalf of John Rain, this is Mark DiValenti for Brain Burrow. Have an amazing rest of your day.
You just dug deep with Mark D. Do you want more? Follow Mark on Instagram @ValentiHorror and subscribe to the Brain Burrow podcast.